It is my pleasure and my blessing to introduce to you Donna, who's going to share with us about the ministry of your safe haven. And so welcome.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Donna Gibbs, and I am from Your Safe Haven. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us this morning. We so very much appreciate the ability to get out with the community and with the public to let them know a little bit more about Your Safe Haven. I'm sure many of you here today are aware because of your relationship and your knowledge of Jeannie Mallow, who created Your Safe Haven with just a group of friends, late 1990s, because she wanted to help. She saw a need in our community for the victims to have somewhere to go, someone to stick up for them, someone to help them through a very, very difficult time. Your Safe Haven has tried very, very hard over the past 2 decades to keep that alive, to keep Jeannie's memory alive, to keep her memory alive, and to keep the mission alive. Your Safe Haven does a lot of things for the community, one of which is helping with protection from abuse orders, and that's what many individuals associate Your Safe Haven with. And certainly we are here for victims, but we want to let everyone know that we also offer victim services for other types of crimes. Maybe it's a driving under the influence case, maybe it's a burglary, maybe it was a credit card issue where someone stole your identity and used your credit card to purchase items. Those are victims that we help as well. My background is in nursing. So for many years, 18 of which of my career, I spent as a hospice nurse. So I've changed kind of gears a little bit, but I've brought that nursing background with me to Your Safe Haven because we've developed, along with many of the other programs that Jeannie had started, is a medical advocacy program. So with my nursing background, I'm able to get in with the doctors, to get into the health centers, to get with the local emergency medical services, to let them know that this is what domestic violence looks like. This is what a sexual assault looks like. This is what we would like you to see as a red flag. It's not always just so simple and clear cut as the woman may have a bruise on her face and we know that the boyfriend did it. It's not always that simple and clear and concise. So there's many, many red flags that we educate our medical professionals and our medical providers on, so that if they see those things, they can then let the victim or the individual know, listen, something else might be going on here. I know you may not be prepared to talk about it today, but here's some information for Your Safe Haven. Try to give them a call. Let them talk with you. Our victim services are completely free of charge. They are 100% confidential. We do have an attorney on site who is able to help with those orders, those protection from abuse orders. And many times people think, well, this is too long of a process. I don't want to get involved. It'll go away. And sometimes they think that, and they get back into that situation where, maybe things settle down for a couple of weeks, but then there's an argument, and then there's a spike, and then there's an escalation, and then the abuse again, it's all over. It's just a continual cycle. It's difficult for some people to say, well, why don't they just leave? If he hit you or she hit you, just leave. It's not that easy. As many of you can understand, there are so many factors that will keep a person in an abusive relationship. Maybe they don't have a vehicle, maybe they don't have any money, maybe they don't have anywhere to go. We would like to think that everyone has a loving, extended family who would open the doors wide and say, oh, if you're having trouble, come stay with me. It's not always that easy. We don't live in that type of a society anymore. For many reasons, family are either ashamed that the abuse is occurring in their family because we don't have divorce in our family. We don't have this type of situation in our family, and they kind of close themselves off from reality. So they're really not a support system then for that victim. Or maybe they don't have the funds to bring the daughter and the 3 children into their home. Maybe they just don't have the space. Maybe it's the family. Maybe she's afraid to leave because he has said, I'll kill the animals. I'll kill myself. I'll burn the house down. So there's all of these threats that are looming that keep people locked in an abusive relationship. And many, many times they'll come into our agency and they'll want to know, what can I do? We outline, these are your options, these are your choices. Just because they come to us and say, I want to know about a protection from abuse order, that doesn't lock them into then pursuing that in a legal court situation. We give them the information. Sometimes they leave with that information and go home, and we don't see them again, maybe until the next time it happens. Sometimes they take the information home and call back the next day and say, yeah, I want to do this. Okay, meet me here at the office at 10 o'clock, and we assist them through the paperwork. Bedford County court system works so seamlessly with us. I can't tell you what a great support system that we have within Bedford County to help residents. Every day at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, we as advocates have an appointment with Judge Hershey for the sole purpose of hearing a protection from abuse order. If we don't have any protection from abuse orders to hear that day, she starts in with her afternoon schedule with other court cases. But if we do have a PFA, a protection from abuse order, she will hear that case first before she starts on the remainder of the cases. So we assist the client to get all the paperwork filled out. We put everything into the computer for them. It takes about 2 hours till we get through the system. We have them meet us at the courthouse and we physically go with them, because you can imagine how scary this process must be. Not only are you afraid to go home, now you have to stand in front of a judge and kind of air your dirty laundry. You have to tell this judge what he did to you, what she did to you. It's kind of rehashing the whole thing again, and it just makes it horribly real, because here you are in a court of law asking the attorney to keep this person that you loved and trusted and felt was going to be your partner. Now you have to ask the judge to keep that person 1,000 feet from you at all times for the next 3 years. So it's tremendously overwhelming for these individuals, and we are there the entire time. We help you with the paperwork. We get everything submitted to the judge. We call over to the judge's chamber, say, we're going to be there at 1 o'clock. This is our individual's name. They call us. We go into a private type of a courtroom with Judge Hershey. We do not say anything during that time. We're just there as support for the individual. The judge listens to everything that the victim has to say. She reads the information that we've entered into the computer from the victim's statement, and she will then decide at that point, yes, I have enough for a protection from abuse order, and she will sign that temporary order that day. And then she schedules the next week, because with the court of law, they must give the other individual a chance to voice their side of the story, because of course there are two sides to every story. So she will grant that temporary protection from abuse order, and then the very following week, she will ask both parties to be in the courtroom Tuesday morning, 9 a.m., where she will hear both sides of the story again. If that is still meets the criteria for protection from abuse order, that will be then signed as a full protection from abuse order for up to 3 years. So on the day that the individuals get their temporary protection order, the sheriff is then dispatched to that location within hours. If they can find that person, they will serve them that protection from abuse order so that there can be no further connections with that person, which is, again, the sheriff's department, the court system, it truly is there to help the victims. And it does not matter to us if it's a male or a female. It doesn't matter race, religion, ethnicity, preferences. That doesn't matter to us. We are there to represent victims and victims only. A minimum of 1,400 people come through our doors, adults, children, support staff, that we help each and every year. We do not have what's a brick and mortar type of shelter. We do not have that for many reasons. One of which is financially, it's just very challenging to keep something like that viable with insurance and security and staffing, all of those types of things. But we do have emergency shelter available. It's a location which I can't disclose. Sometimes it changes, But if someone comes to us and truly has fear of returning home, we don't want you to go home. We want you to bring yourself, bring your dog, bring your 3 kids, whatever you need to do to get out of that home. We will get you in emergency shelter for a 1 day, 2 day, 3 days. That's a short time frame, but it's enough to get a protection from abuse order from the judge. It's enough time for the sheriff to serve that eviction notice to the perpetrator, get him out of the house or get her out of the house so that you can return home again. Because we don't ever want you to go back into a situation where you are afraid of your life. And that happens. That happens many, many times. I used to think before I came into this that I knew domestic violence happened. I knew sexual assault happened. I had no idea of the magnitude that it happens in our community. And it happens in every community. It's just, we like to think of us as like this idyllic little calm little community where evil exists on a limited basis. But I'm here to tell you that whether it's COVID, whether it's whatever has happened recently, the amount of cases have skyrocketed. Part of my job at Your Safe Haven is also to go into schools and educate children, because children grow up in these types of environments where bad language, hitting, belittling, calling each other names, fighting, screaming at the top of your lungs, they grow up in that type of environment. So if someone doesn't tell them, hey, that's not the norm, this is not the way it should be, they grow up in that environment thinking, this is as good as it's going to get. And that's the relationships that they get into, and that's what they think normal is. So I teach a class in our middle schools, sometimes in the high schools if I can get in. It's called Safe Dates, and it talks about healthy relationships, and it talks about what do you want from a relationship, what do you want to put into a relationship, what do you think is a healthy relationship, and what do you think are red flags in a relationship. We are in every school district in our area, NBC, Everett, Hindman, everyone but Bedford. I haven't been able to get into Bedford yet, so I'm hopeful that that will change soon. But the classes it's about an 8-week class. It's about an hour at a time, and I teach it normally on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So it's not like it's a long drawn out thing, but it's really, really great for the kids to get information so that they know. Maybe if they haven't seen a healthy relationship at home, they begin to make some mental changes as to what they now perceive as a healthy relationship. Because our goal at Your Safe Haven is absolutely to help you if you're in a situation where you need to get out and you are afraid for your life. We absolutely want to be there, but we also want to be there at the beginning so that we can perhaps change some of the perception, change some behaviors so that we can educate people more on, look, this is a red flag. If you see this here, start to do something about it before we get to here and you're now in the emergency room. We do assist often with sexual assault cases. We are called either from the state police, from the victim, or from the hospital itself saying, we have a rape here, we need a counselor. There is a counselor advocate 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, holidays, weekends. You're covered. We are there. We will come immediately to the hospital. And our role again at that hospital is there's a sexual assault nurse. She does her thing. We are there specifically just for support, because you can imagine how traumatic that must be. So we are there simply for support. We do offer intermediate counseling up to 6 months. We have counselors on staff. We have individuals that are trained for sexual assault. We have individuals that are trained for drug and alcohol use. They're there to give, again, free counseling, confidential, for up to 6 months. If the victim, which many times they do need additionally more than that 6 months, we will then refer to someone else in the area, whether it's Bedford, Altoona, Johnstown, wherever it might be. We'll get you those resources so that you can continue that counseling. It may be at a free cost, it may be at a reduced cost, it may be insurance that'll, something like your insurance will cover, but we do want to make sure that you continue that counseling. So again, there's just a multitude of things that we do at Your Safe Haven. Protection from abuse is a big one, but it is just one of the things that we assist with. And we rely so much on the support of our community and the support of our partners. We are a nonprofit, so the majority of our monies comes from grants. So we're constantly writing grants. And the grant process, for anyone that knows, is you just throw your hat in the ring, and sometimes you get the grant and sometimes you don't. But we do rely a great deal upon donations as well, because it's just, when we have individuals come to us literally with the clothes on their back and they've got 3 children, they're like, I left. I can't take it anymore. Okay, well, we've got to get you gas cards. We've got to get you Giant Eagle cards. We've got to get you into our emergency shelter. We've got to get you clothes. We've got to get you formula, and we will do it. We will make it work. But it tremendously helps when we have the support of others to help us along with that. Thank you so much for giving of your time this morning. This is tremendous, tremendous. My home church is the Crossroads Bible Church, but I always enjoy coming to other congregations and being a part of your fellowship as well. So thank you again for your time. Thank you, Pastor. I do have some flyers that I'll have with me after the service. If anyone would like one, just please approach me. I'd be happy to give you one. Thank you again.